welcome once again, everyone. Thank you very much for being here today. Thank you for your tangible support of the Hardrockers. My name is Kevin Price. I'm the new Executive Director of Hardrock Club. And I'd like to say thank you immediately to a couple of people. Number one, somebody I definitely can't live without on a daily basis, Sandy Carlson. Sandy, thank you for all the effort. And Brad Bloom. Brad, where are you? Brad, there's Brad. Very good. Brad, thank you, Brad. Set up for us, and he's the reason you can hear me today. So, I'm definitely enjoying things so far. I hope you guys are enjoying this pizza from Lintz Brothers. We need to say thank you to them. They're nice enough to come on board with us again for this year, so you'll get some good Lintz Brothers pizza throughout the year. You guys know some good things are happening. Obviously, you can see we're in a football game week, and you can see down at the football field, we've got the new turf in, the new track in, we've got the new scoreboard up and running. That's already been used. We've got a new marquee out front. So some good things are happening, and we are also continuing to work on some other things behind the scenes that I think folks are going to be really proud and happy about. So I'm looking forward to giving you more updates in the coming weeks here. We are going to hear from a bunch of our coaches today. As you know, with our fall sports, we've got cross country, we've got soccer, we've got volleyball, we've got football. So we're going to hear from all the fall sport coaches today. With that said, Steve Johnson, you are up first. Come on up, Steve.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, I guess it's that time of year again. We are off and running, literally. We've got a couple hundred miles under our belt already, which is 2 weeks into the season, and kids are looking pretty good. We're still really young on the men's side. In fact, we're actually younger now than we were last year. We brought in 5 more freshman guys, so that puts us at between freshmen and sophomores. We've got 9, and we've got 1 junior. So we are really, really young right now. But we've got some really good talent in there. We've got most of our top guys returning from last year. Jacob Huber, of course, leading the way for us, and as well as Chase Wood. We also saw some really, really big improvements during the track season, and then just in our early testing in cross country the last couple of weeks, we've seen some really, really remarkable improvements out of a couple of our guys, Ben Colvin and Aiden Anderson. Those guys, the first test that we do every year is called the Bulky. It's a 15-minute run to see how far they can get in 15 minutes. And typically what we'll see is, if they come in shape, they pick up about 100 meters or so over the previous year. Those 2 guys picked up 400 meters each. So that's going to be a huge, huge boost to our top 5 for cross. And then on top of that, with those 5 guys that we added, we've got a couple of guys that we're really looking forward to seeing what they get done for us. Andy Ferris is probably the cream of the crop. He's a 153 and 417 mile. 153 in his 800, 417 in the mile. To give you an idea of what that means, it basically means he's ready to qualify for the national championship meet right now in track and field, what he's done. The next guy up will be Joel Haas. Joel is a guy out of Corvallis, Montana, and he's been a guy that we were talking to for quite a while, but really just kind of waited to see what he was going to do. We knew on the track at Myler he was going to be solid, but in cross he's really stepped up and really been a good force for us already in practice, and so we're really excited to see what these guys can do. Our recruiting class this year actually stretched from all the way up from Alaska to Columbus, just north of Columbus, Ohio. So we really got a pretty broad range of guys. We pulled in another guy out of Vegas, a young man that used to run against Chase, and so we're pretty excited about what they're going to get done. On the women's side, we bring back, we've got 4 seniors, and we expect them, as usual, to be our front group. With Adelaide Stratmeyer, we'll probably be leading the way as we keep moving forward. In our early tests, she was kind of in the pack, but that's just what Addie does early in the season. she keeps that under control, and we were dealing with a little bit of injury going into the summer, but she seems to be pretty strong and really starting to find her way again as we get going. Probably the biggest one on the women's side to look out for, and just seeing what we've gotten done so far test-wise, is going to be Erica Westerman. Erica really stepped up last year during the indoor season, setting a new record for us in the 800 meters, and had one of our fastest mile times ever. Then she took and she put the work in over the summer, and it was very obvious right away. She's been able to come out and hang with that front five very, very comfortably. And so we've been really excited with the work that she's gotten done. So now we feel like we've got a really solid top five, and should be able to match up well with the other teams in the RMAC. Speaking of the RMAC, we're going to get to see a couple of our RMAC foes this weekend. We have our home meet on Saturday out at Robbinsdale Park, and we're going to get a chance to see Black Hills State and Chadron State. And this race is also going to serve as the race for the Wildac Pickaxe again against Gillette College. So we're going to get a chance to match up with Gillette. Unfortunately, we lost to them last year, but we think we've got a pretty good shot this year in that one. So we're looking forward to seeing how they match up. Central Wyoming College will also be there. As we look at our schedule, we're going to actually see Chadron again next week. We'll get a chance to go down and run against them in their course. They're actually hosting the region meet for us this year, so it'll be another close one for us from the region. As we move through the season, probably our key races over the course of the season are going to be the GRIAC meet. That'll be a good test for us for Fort Hays. The conference is what the conference is, and it's going to be tough. We all know that. It's going to be a knockdown, drag out. And we're going to get a chance to see a lot of the teams in the RMAC at those two races in the middle there, the GRIAC meet and Fort Hays meet. And then, of course, the South Central meet wraps everything up. We get a long trip all the way down to Canyon, Texas, which is just outside Amarillo. And it's hosted by West Texas A&M. They do a great job. They have their own dedicated cross-country course that they're able to use and put on a really good race. The South Central region, as you know, is the toughest region in Division II cross-country. And so we get a chance on a weekly basis to see the best of the best. As we look at things for this weekend, we actually added something new. With some help from the Black Hills Runners Club, we've been able to add a kids 1K fun run. So if you haven't already, sign up those kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, whatever you've got, and bring them along. We'd love to have them join us for the race. We're going to have, our men are going to run their 8K race, and then I told them they have to hop in and run the kids K too. So we'll get a chance to put them out there with the kids and take them over a little bit of the cross-country course. And just in case you're worried about kids running that far, my 6-year-old's already been out and tested out the course for us. He says it's great. Give them a chance to see what cross-country is really like and get a chance to hang out with the hard rockers. First race is going to be at 9:30. We'll see the men's race there. We're going to have, I think at last look, we were looking at about 50 runners in the men's race. So it should be a pretty good field. Black Hills State is going to be tough as always. They bring back Jonah Tyson, who made it to indoors, or made it to nationals, both in cross country and in the outdoor championships in the steeplechase. He was national champion as a freshman in the steeplechase. So he's back as a junior. His twin brother's back, and then they have 2 other scorers from last year's team that are also returning. So they should be a tough team to match up with. I believe they were 6th in the region last year. On the women's side, Chadron State, I think, is going to be the team to watch. They're going to be a tough matchup. They bring back Nikki Applegarth and Elise Henry. Nikki was just shy of qualifying for the national meet 2 years ago. She had a national qualifier in the 5K that following track season, and unfortunately got hurt, so they redshirted her all of last year. And she is, from what Coach Med tells me she is definitely back up to form, if not better. So we're really curious to see how Addie can match up in that, not necessarily as much this weekend, but in the long term in that matchup. If we know that if we can run close to Nikki, we're running really well. And Elise will be a tough one. She redshirted last year just to get a year stronger. And so there's no question Shatter's going to be back up this year. The thing for us is our pack, I think, is that much better than we were. Quite frankly, with what Eric has given us. When, by the time we get to the conference meet and the region meet, she could give us 20 places in that race better. And since every place matters, since like golf, low score wins, 20 points obviously is a huge number. On the men's side, our biggest thing is going to be trying to pack up and make sure that we keep our guys tight. We've got a good solid top 5, especially with what Aiden and Ben got done, and of course with Jacob and Andy and Chase. I think we can really stack up well over the course of the year. It's just going to be a matter of getting out there and seeing what we can get done this first meet. I also understand the Rowdy Rockers are coming for the meet this weekend, so they're going to be grilling at the meet. So make sure you stick around and don't be afraid to come and get up to the high point on the course. The nice thing is we're over at Robbinsdale this year. They had some construction at Founders, as you noticed all summer. So being at Robbinsdale, the nice part is you can get up to that top of that first hill, and you can really see the entire course. You can watch the entire thing unfold from out there. It's not like some of the cross-country races where you're going to have to run from one place to the other, although you're certainly welcome to do that if you want to try it. Any questions? All right, well, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Coach Johnson, thank you very much. Saturday, Robbinsdale Park, 9:30 a.m. If you have not been to a cross-country meet, I really encourage you to go. They're very exciting. I always have my own fun watching the young men and women walk up at the end and come across the finish line. That's always an exciting time. Next on the schedule, we have our men's soccer head coach, Andrew Conniff. Andrew, come on up.
Thank you all for coming. I want to start off with a thank you to Jeff Preston. He wrote a really nice article about us in the Rapid City Journal this week, so if you're newspaper readers, which I am, he did a great job. He showed the good and bad of what we've done. This is my 3rd year in the program, my first as head coach, and we haven't had a ton of success on the field the past few years, and he definitely addresses that, but he also talks about the belief that our players have. I don't think I've ever read a newspaper article about something I'm involved in before and realized something. And I realized my players, for the first time, believe that we can succeed. And that's a special thing. I think it's going to be something new for us this year. Coach Wood has come on. Ken, can you raise your hand? This is Ken Wood, my new assistant coach. He's done a great job since coming on. I think it's hard to come into a new situation where I have a lot of bonds with our players. You know, being an assistant coach for 2 years, I'm very, very close on a personal level with a lot of them. Ken's come in and already I see them asking Coach Ken, hey, what can I work on? What can I do? And I'm like, that's, hey, don't talk to me. But no, it's great. It's great to have him as a resource. I brought him on because he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. He's played in this conference, and the guys not only believe in me, believe in what we're doing, believe in him as an individual. So it's early on this year has been very, very exciting. I think part of that belief is we're trying to do some new things tactically, and that's a word I've only used or heard in military and soccer is tactics, and that goes with how we set up our formation. In football, there's a 4-3, 3-4 defense. We have a lot of different variances in soccer as well. Different rules positionally, what we expect out of our outside mids, our outside backs, and we've challenged a lot of our guys to do something new. Right? We've been very, very organized in how we've done that. They've responded well. Something I've learned about, a lot of you are former students here, current, former engineers. You guys have an incredible mind, and I'm more of a creative mind. I'm not very analytical, and I've had to come up with a way that we can actually reach these guys. For me, soccer is a creative game, but now we've given them, hey, every role, these are 3 things we want from you offensively, these are 3 things we want from you defensively, this is what we're looking for you in transition. And having those defined roles, they've really responded well. So we leave this Thursday for games in Grand Junction, Colorado against Newman University and Lubbock Christian. Newman University from Wichita, Kansas, won 10 games last year. They're going to be very, very good. I really hope that we're up to the challenge. We're not necessarily looking for results either way. If we get to see their Newman and Lubbock, it's a great chance for us to see, all right, all the crazy ideas Coach has us trying in training right now, are these going to work out? This is a good way for us to kind of gauge that. I think the guys are really, really excited too. We have the biggest roster I've ever had since being here. 31 guys on the team right now. We're only traveling 19, so there's a real competitive atmosphere in training. Like, I want to be that guy who's going on the trip. I want to be that guy getting into games. And I think because of that, we've had a new atmosphere in training. Even yesterday at the end of the session, like some of our older guys that have been traditionally quiet, they're speaking up. They're holding standards for our younger guys. Like, man. And again, as a coach, like, I don't want to be the guy who's telling you, hey, you got to play better. Hey, you need to work harder. Now we have juniors and seniors doing that, which makes Kent's and my job a lot easier. The last thing I wanted to mention is some of our guys to watch out for. I know many of you don't come to soccer games. We're off campus, which is kind of a tough situation to come to out in Sioux Park. Lars Scout from last year was an honorable mention All-RMAC, the first time someone's been selected as such. Last year he was a center defender, right? So that's a position where you don't get to go forward a lot. You don't get the chance to create scoring opportunities, so no assists or goals. This year he's moved into a slightly more advanced position. Again, coming back from an award season, now we found a way for him to get forward, hopefully fill up the stat sheet a little bit. So please watch out for Lars Scow this year. His parents are actually both alums, and his brother's about to be. So he's a really special guy to our program. Another one who's really stepped up, and you won't see in the stat sheets at all, is sophomore Ryan Higginbotham. He's from St. Louis. He played quite a bit last year as a true freshman. Now, coming back from the summer, he's going to start for us at center back, and he has been everything we want. I mean, he's been good on the ball. He's faster than he was last year. His leadership and his personality he brings is just something the guys rally around. It's not like he's even trying. It's just he's the sophomore that everyone looks to. I mean, he's someone I look to. I was just on the phone with him right before this, and asking his opinion on some things we should do. Like I have that much faith in Ryan that he's someone I hope as you throughout the year read articles about us or hopefully make it to a game. Please watch out for Ryan. Hopefully he'll be here talking at some point, and I'm sure he'll have some very unpredictable answers if you have some good questions for him. Are there on that? Are there any questions for me? All right. Thank you for your time.
Coach, thank you very much. We have a new women's volleyball coach. And if you did not have the pleasure of seeing their scrimmage recently, let me tell you from my perspective, it was extremely competitive. They were getting after it, and the white versus the blue they were really trying to one-up each other. They played the full deal, and it was fun to watch. There's a lot of talent out there. I'm looking forward to a good volleyball season and getting to a lot of matches. So with that said, let's call up Jennie Bolduc. Did I get it right? Yay.
Thank you. We were in a bit of an interesting situation. We got hired late in the hiring cycle, so we didn't come into the summer. And normally, if you get hired as a volleyball coach, balance is really my thing. You get to come in the spring season, so you get to implement a lot of cultural and volleyball-related changes in that spring season. You get to go through some growing pains where things don't matter. Things don't go on your record, and you have more time, and you work through stuff, and you can go through more video, and you do these things, and we didn't get that. So we walked into a gym in the fall pretty blind and only knowing what we knew from film of last year. So as far as us setting our expectations, I get a lot of questions from my friends and other coaches. Hey, what do you think? Are they meeting your expectations? Are they exceeding them? They're far exceeding them, because the film last year doesn't do anything justice of what we're doing in our gym right now. And I'm not saying, hey, I did this, look at what I accomplished. I'm saying the work that they put in over the spring, that Abby Pollard, who was the former assistant, put in over the spring, and the things that they did over the summer, they walked in the gym far and above what they walked out of the gym last season. And then we've grown from there as well. So we watched some film from the first day this weekend, and holy cow, it's a big difference from the first day, but it's a massive turnaround from the end of last season. So we have definitely been really surprised at their performance, their effort for sure. You know, Kevin's talking about them getting after it. We made it pretty clear at the beginning, hey, we are going to get after it. And we are not going to live in this culture where balls drop on the ground and we're not making moves for them and we're not getting on each other for that outcome. And that's been a massive change in our gym, and certainly someone who's had a big influence on that is my assistant Chelsea, who was a defensive specialist libero at Samford University in Alabama. And she's been in charge of our DSs and liberos and outside hitters, and our defense has definitely come a long way in that aspect. The things that we've been really focusing on is just investing in the process, trusting in the process, not worrying so much about outcome. We're trying to change a lot of things, and when you do those sort of things, sometimes outcomes and results can be pretty wonky. Like, we've seen some things happen in our gym while they're trying to change that. Holy cow, like, you want to see balls flying in the ceilings and shaking off into grandma on row 3. We've got that going on, but we know that in order to get the results that we want long term, we have to make these changes, and we have to be okay with some bizarre results in that process. So they've been talking a lot about focusing on that process and just controlling what they can control. Our junior transfer libero, Allie Wagner, who came here from Northwestern Junior College, thank you, said just some really mature things in a team meeting in the day along those lines of, like, I can only control the things I can control, and if I do those things, I know that I can at least go to bed at night knowing that I did everything I could possibly do to be better. And we can. Volleyball's a really random game. It's a little ball of air that people are just whacking around. And you can't always control the outcome of that, but we can control the process that we put into that. So that's been a major focus in the gym. As far as our actual volley goes, we're speeding up our offense quite a bit. So if you've been to our games before, you saw a lot of like kind of slowish balls to our middles. We're going to run those balls much faster. We've got our middles kind of going crazy, watching balls fly over their head, like where is that going? I don't think I can catch that. But we're getting them there. They're going to go faster. We're going to catch some teams by surprise. We're working a lot on our ball control, but we're also working a lot on what if we can't control this ball. So there's a lot about a system play in our practices, a lot of random, uncontrolled situations where they just have to figure it out. And like Andrew was saying, we've got a lot of really analytical kids, and they like to figure things out, which I think is really cool. I'm probably not the creative person that Andrew's talking about. I am that analytical, hey, let's sit down and figure out what is the probability of this thing happening and what should we do in order to control that. So they get a lot of video. Every day after practice, they get a video of just their touches. So everything they do in practice, they get to go home and watch. And if they want to come in and watch with us, they can do that. But there's a lot of analytics that go into volleyball as well. We open this week in 3 days against, I had to write this down and ask several people to tell me if I was saying it correctly, Bemidji State. So we are at Minot State with Bemidji, Minot State, Montana State Billings, and Minnesota State Moorhead. And I think it'll be a good tournament for us to start out with. It's not the strongest tournament, but it'll be a good chance for us to get out and see what we've been doing and see how it looks matched up with someone in a different jersey, which we're all just dying to see after 2 weeks of preseason. Do you guys have any questions? We can talk about who to look for, I guess. One thing about the expectations that we saw film last year is we got this redshirt senior back, Michaela Reese, who, if you were here a couple years ago, you saw her, and she's pretty good. And she took her senior season as a redshirt season to go work in a co-op in Kentucky, which ended up being a great situation for her. It's kind of unusual, but again, it's kind of a reflection of the kind of students we have here. So this is Michaela, she got a job out of this situation. But the beautiful thing is we get this really experienced, great ball control, like good, she can put the ball away, she can put the ball in a lot of different spots. Outside hitter who's also a great leader for our team. So she's back, and she's definitely someone you look for. She's one of the few kids that's going to be on the court the whole time. And then we've also got another senior, Emily Newton, who's a the middle, and she's just been really solid for us in preseason. I think she's hitting like 260 for preseason, which with all the changes we're asking her to make is really, really good. And then that transfer libero is also going to be pretty strong for us. And a lot of the other younger kids are also stepping up, so it's cool. We don't really know who's going to come out being on top in a lot of these situations, but it's exciting to have that kind of depth on our team as well. Yeah.
Welcome to the school.
Oh, thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up here?
Sure, I would love to. I grew up in a small town near Grand Junction, Colorado. I went to Northeastern Junior College and studied agriculture because when you grow up in a very tiny town in Colorado, you don't know anything about anything. And you just do whatever the people before you did. So I went to JUCO, I played at Northeastern Junior College in Sterling. And then I also did what the rest of my little herd was doing and went to Colorado State. I played at Colorado State, and then I ended up working for them for 3 years. So in that time, we won, when I was there, I think we won 4 Mountain West Conference championships. And then from there, I started working with the USA Women's Indoor team. And that was a great experience. I got to travel a lot. I was at World Cup. I guess it's not just a soccer thing. So we qualified for the London Olympics in Japan at that World Cup. We won a bronze medal at Pan American Games. Silver medal at Volley Masters, which is a tournament in Switzerland. So I had a great experience there. Went and coached at UMBC, which is a STEM school in Baltimore. Then was an assistant as well at Miami University in Ohio. And then most recently I was the director of volleyball operations at the University of Illinois. And then my head coach that hired me at Stanford, or I'm sorry, not Stanford, at Illinois, took the head job at Stanford. And I knew when I took that job that I really wanted to be moving back into coaching eventually. And when he left, I was offered to stay with a new head coach, but this came up and I just thought it was really interesting. It got me closer to home. We got a little 2-year-old niece in Denver that now I get to see more than once a year. And I love the kind of kid that's going to choose to go to school here. Like the kind of kid that's going to think about what's going on and has an opinion and is like problem solving and isn't just a robot. For volleyball and for the way that I like to coach, that's a really good fit for me. And so I decided I'll at least go check it out. When I got here, it became pretty obvious that like they're trying to implement this family culture and there's all these cool things going on. There's this amazing things going on campus with the general student body. And yeah, I was excited and I was offered the job and I took it the next day. So that's a long rambling story about how I got here.
Who's your favorite classmate at Northeastern Junior College?
My favorite classmate is Brandon Fredrickson.
Oh, cool.
Right? one of the women's basketball players when I was at Northeastern Junior College went to school here and played for a tournament. So random, it all circles back together. Actually, the former assistant Abby Pollard's uncle was my advisor at MJC as well, so it's just one big, tiny, tiny town. Anything else? Thank you.
Okay, we have a football team that's leaving tonight at midnight, I believe. We're on a short game week. We got a game on Thursday. So we have a lot of things to talk about this with Coach Tinker. Come on up. Thank you for being here.
You guys all ready?
Yeah.
A very, very exciting time. I think everybody is sort of, summer has come to an end and everybody's ready for football season. So been a great camp to this point, and these kids are firing all cylinders. I do have a couple of our mentors in the room, our defensive coordinator, assistant head coach, Taylor Breitzman. You guys all know Taylor, one of the premier rock dog coordinators in the country. I really think we're primed to have a really, really big season on defense under Breitzman's leadership. Our offensive coordinator, Coach Udy, is also our recruiting coordinator, Justin Udy. And when you watch our freshmen play, you'll learn very quickly that this man knows how to recruit. The job he did and the young men that we brought in and are going to travel this week are very, very strong. And our offensive line coach, Coach Cody O'Neill, Coach O'Neill has really done a great job mentoring this offensive line and getting us ready to play. So the rest of our assistants, as Kevin said, we leave at 11:59 p.m. tonight, and I know many of you have already made plans to be there and send us off, and we thank you for that. Yeah, we'll be taking attendance. But so we've got a lot of things going on right now. So we're putting those final details together. Always making sure there's always 3 or 4 players that you're pretty concerned might forget their helmets. So you're giving that extra time and consideration to those young men who may be taking their first college trip, or maybe they're just the forgetful types. As we get ready for this game against William Jewell on Thursday night, it is a 5 p.m. kickoff for you here in Rapid City. It's a 6 p.m. Central kickoff against the Cardinals. William Jewell has something that we don't have right now, and that's a winning streak. They finished the season with a big victory, so they have some momentum from there. As you know, if you followed us, we did not. And so as we look at our season, our theme for the year is finish. You'll see the guys wearing the finish bracelets around. That's our theme for the season. We were in 3 games in October and November last season that we had an opportunity to win in the fourth quarter. In fact, we led 3 games in the fourth quarter that we weren't able to close out. And I think when you look back at our season, our ability to finish just wasn't there. I put a lot of that on the head coach, not doing a good enough job in some game situations. But then as a team, we've been practicing how to finish, how to get ourselves a little bit better at the end of games, including this past week when we did a live overtime period against one another and played football to prepare ourselves for those situations. We anticipate our plan is to play 11 quality games and be in the game at the end of the football game. We want to have an opportunity in 11 straight for a fourth quarter finish, and then our objective is to finish all of them. We got to do it one at a time. We understand that. Every coach in America will tell you that. But that's our plan and our objective as we move forward. A couple notes for you, because I know you'll ask. Everybody's asking me how healthy we are. We're as healthy as everybody else in America. Not as healthy as we want to be, but healthy enough to go play. If you want to ask about anybody specifically, I'll do that offline, not via the World Wide Web, where it might have the opportunity to go viral. But if you'd like to sidebar with me afterwards, please feel free to do so. Going into it again, as we look at our seniors, do you have our captains up there? Oh, here's some of our seniors. You get some of the great photos that Brad Bloom did, some of our shots of our senior class as we prepare for this year. One of the honors, once you become a senior in our program, you do get a private photo shoot with the Premier Sports Information Director in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, Brad Bloom. Brad works his tail off to get this done. We were there till really late, man. These guys put a lot of time into their looks, and they did a great job with it. But Brad did an outstanding job promoting the young men in our program, and the kids got an opportunity to have a little something, a memento from their experience once they graduate from here. We do give them a photo at the end, a canvas photo at the end of the year that is a reflection of this as their final senior gift, and it means a lot to these young men as they move forward. Quickly on our schedule, so you have an idea. Again, we're at William Jewell this weekend. Okay, we play Thursday night. I pledged to the boys. They asked. I said, I will get you back in time for your 8 o'clock Friday class. I know you want to be there, and I will make it happen. All right, so we're going to high octane get on that bus and haul back here and get our kids to class on Friday. We'll go to school on Friday, and then we'll prepare for the conference opener. I think something that you should all understand is there were 5 teams ranked in front of us in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference preseason rankings. All 5 of those opponents will either be here on our field, Dunham Field, the premier venue in the entire Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, or they're Black Hill State. We're going to take a trip up the road to play that game. So the 4 teams in our conference that were ranked at 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all going to be on Dunham Field at O'Hara Stadium. They're all going to be in this environment. They're all going to have to go through this new environment with the video board cranked up, the ramps, the horns honking, and some of the rowdy folks in the ramps. Maybe giving them some advice on what they could do better. All right, suggesting math courses that they should be taking in their institutions, etc. But so that's what we get. There are 3 teams from the RMAC that are ranked in the preseason top 25. 3 teams from the RMAC ranked in the preseason top 25. All 3 of them are coming to Dunham Field to play the Hardrockers. And so you'll get an opportunity to see the very best including what I'm not sure it's the first time ever, but certainly the first time in the Division II era. Never before has a team that has won a national championship at the Division II level stepped foot onto our field. The 2014 national champions from CSU Pueblo will be here for homecoming in the second week of September, and we cannot wait for the opportunity to show you what we look like against the best of the best at the Division II college level. Next up, I do believe I'm going to share with you our isn't that a great photo? Way to go, Brad. Okay. Next up, just so you have an idea of who our captains are, the men who lead our team, and again, more great work from Brad here. Our creative design really demonstrates that we truly are scholar athletes. Our guys are right at home in the quad. There's no question about it. As we look at our captains for this season, you know, our offensive captain, Jacob Sullivan, industrial engineering major out of Rapid City, South Dakota. Jake will be playing his junior campaign for us. He does have 2 seasons of eligibility left. Very, very excited. Jake has had a strong fall camp. I know I get that question a lot. He looks like Jake to me, and he's anxious to go get an opportunity to play. He's a very hungry and motivated player. He was selected as a preseason first-team all-conference quarterback, which I thought was interesting just based on the fact that he only got to play in about half the league games last year. So we're excited with where Jake is at and where we're going. Next up on the captain's list is a great young player for us, EJ DeVoe. He's out of Tacoma, Washington. He's a civil engineering major. EJ is a leader of our secondary, has been just a stud for us this last couple of years. At the end of last year, he was just kind of starting to come into his own. And then through this offseason, we're really dealing with a completely different player. Tons of confidence, tons of energy, and totally different leadership. When we break down the team for everything, EJ's the one who breaks them down. A level of leadership that I really didn't know until we got through this summer. He was here all summer working, and EJ has really stepped up. You also, his mother calls it, you know, he goes by Everett. We call him EJ, all right? So if you hear Everett DeVoe included in there as well, it's because we're being more formal with him, not because we're upset with him. Okay. Next up is another Rapid City native, linebacker Blake Stone, another civil engineering major. If you were to create the prototype of a hard rocker as an individual, character, integrity, toughness, the values that we really believe in our program, if you talk about trust, accountability, perseverance, and service, nobody represents hard rocker football better than Blake Stone. He's moved to linebacker this season. He's an absolute rock. He's literally a rock in our defense. You feel like if he's not out there, it feels like there's something missing. But that's great because he's never not out there. And he's been just a tremendous leader. He's really become much more of a vocal leader. If you know Blake, he's relatively reserved. He's got kind of that wrestler mentality, but what an outstanding leader he's developed into. We could not be more proud than to have Blake as one of our captains. And he looks super tough in that photo, doesn't he? All right, and then our final team captain is Isaiah Manley, senior wide receiver out of Corona, California. He's an interdisciplinary science major. If you watched Isaiah last season, as the season went along, he really became a big playmaker for us at the wide receiver position. What I've seen here in fall camp, it appears that he's poised to have another big year, number 13. Those are your team captains for the 2017 Hard Rockers. And the final note for you before I take a couple questions, because I know I'm dragging on a little bit here, is to just get an idea of what our schedule looks like when we start at Jewel. And then starting on September 9th, if you notice, we're home and home. Okay, then we're at Black Hills State, which is up the road. We really, between the time we get home from Kansas City until we go to Fort Lewis on October 28th, we are in the Black Hills for that stretch of time. We play at Black Hills State, we play at Chadron, and the rest of the games are in our backyard on Dunham Field at O'Hara Stadium. To us, that's a huge advantage, and we need to take advantage of it. Not having the distractions of travel and being able to be in the friendly confines, and we need your support. When you look at the night games from a season ago, when you look at the back-to-back games of Black Hills State and Adams State, that is as electrifying an environment for college football as you're going to find at the D2 level. The crowd was bumping, the place was packed, people were loud, and it was very difficult for those teams to play. The result, we got after both those teams. Our players played with a ton of energy and a ton of juice. We need your energy. We need your juice. We expect you to be there, and we expect you to be loud. If you're not ready to be loud, get ready and get loud. Okay? Because that's what this team needs to push us to the next step. People want to talk about us taking the next step. It's not that we have a great crowd a couple times a year. It's that we have a great crowd anytime someone has the audacity to come to Rapid City and challenge the Rockers. We have to make it a difficult environment. That's a challenge I have for you, and that's the expectation I have for you. We will play hard. We will be a good football team. We expect to get them all, and we expect you to be at your very, very best as well. So bring your A game when you get a chance to come out and see us. Questions? We're all good. Yes, Coach Larson.
Explain the difficulties of the next 2 weeks, early game Thursday and turnaround playing Saturday. Is that to your advantage right now, or is it throw some moves into it?
Yeah, we think so. I mean, playing early, if we win, I'll feel great about it. If we don't, I'll feel like an idiot. But that's everything, right? We wanted to get that game. It's a non-league game on the road. Get a Thursday night game, and it gives us an extra day. Last season it was flipped, and the team we were playing week 2 played on a Thursday night, and we played on Saturday. And there's an advantage there to having those extra days of rest going into a league game. So we believe that could be an advantage. Jewel offered us the opportunity to play Thursday. What I don't like is missing a couple days of school, but it's really only going to be 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday. And then we don't miss any school when we play Black Hills and Shadron, so we kind of make those days up. That's the only negative I could see is the kids missing a little bit of school, and it's early enough in the semester that I think we can recover. Yeah, Joe.
What are your numbers like, how many you traveling with this weekend and how many freshmen will see you?
Yeah, so Judge just asked how many kids are traveling this weekend, how many freshmen are taking the field. We have, somewhere in the 63 to 64, waiting on one more guy injury-wise, to see if he can make it for this trip. We don't have a limitation on this trip like we do in the RMAC. The RMAC travel list is always 60. Okay, that's the max you can ever take for an RMAC game. Offensively, you could see 9 freshmen take the field. Defensively, you could see 5 freshmen take the field. There are some exciting players in this class. There really are. If you look at us, we're constructed well on the defensive line comparatively, probably to years past, where we have a little more experience and we have a little more size and we have a little more confidence in what we're doing on the defensive line. Our linebackers have been solid. We have a freshman in Antoine Rodriguez who has had a really good camp. He'll be a starter, and so you'll see him early. And then, you still have the Troy Kurtzes and the Blake Stones and guys that you've seen, the Jake Fitzgeralds, guys you've seen before. In the defensive backfield, with EJ leading the group, we feel really good, but we might see a couple freshmen play back there as well. We'll play freshmen at receiver because we've always played anyone who can run and catch. That really doesn't depend on how old you are. If you run real fast, you run real fast. And so at receiver, if you run real fast and you catch it when we throw it to you, you get to play. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. And then we'll have some young guys playing in some other key spots as well. But the backup quarterbacks, feel very good. All of them have 4 years of eligibility remaining, but one of them's a little bit older. And so those guys have really come along in camp. And so have no problem putting one of those guys on the field if that situation arose.
What are you doing with running back?
What are we doing with running back? Giving them the ball a lot. We think we do like those players. Kevin Thompson is back from an injury from a season ago, and Kevin's a home run hitter. He's had big plays in his career when he's had the opportunity. He's looked good in camp. Very excited to have Kevin back, and Dorian Coward is back at running back. So those guys are good players, and they need to play well for us to be successful. They've both had good camps. They've both had big games in the past here. We need them to hit some home runs. And then we also got a young man named Zeke Johnson, a freshman who's playing there as well. And then we're going to get a running back from injury, we hope, pretty soon as well. A young man out of Presho, South Dakota, Corey Cropsey, who's got great speed, and can't wait to see him get a chance to play.
Good depth.
We feel like we do. You're never as deep as you want. I mean, even Nick Saban's complaining about his depth. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, everyone wishes they had 4 more good players at every spot. But no one cares, right? I mean, you got to go. Our kids are ready to play. They want to play. They're excited. It's been a little feisty at practice the last week. We're a little tired of each other, and that's good. It should be, And so we're ready to go.
Zach?
Yeah.
Did you envision, let's say, at the end of last season, going into this season, did you envision this many freshmen playing for you at this point?
Yeah, because we did do a little bit of a point of emphasis in recruiting that we were not taking quite as many transfer players, and we brought in some really good transfers. We've done that, and we're set but we've always played freshmen here, and then we just had a good freshman recruiting class. A couple of them are pleasant surprises. A couple of them, we thought they were good players and they need to come into play. So yeah, we expect that. The game has changed so much, Tom, and you're asking about freshmen playing, the game's changed so much because the kids are playing so much more football at a younger time, and they're playing more college level style football, because the spread offense has really changed that. So the spread offense has made it so, especially on offense, which is where the majority of our young guys are going to be playing, they're playing those type of offensive systems when they're 13. And so it used to be when I went to college in the 90s, we had fullbacks. We had fullbacks, and everybody took the snap from under center. And it took 2 years to learn how to play offense in college. It was totally different. Now the learning curve it happens right away. You can learn the system so much faster. That's one of the benefits of the spread offense. And you're seeing it all around the country. You have immediate impact freshmen all over the country. I mean, shoot, Texas played a freshman quarterback last year, a true freshman quarterback last year. You just see it everywhere. So did Alabama.
Is redshirting then that important?
I think some players, it's a case-by-case basis. If you're talking about redshirting, some players can really benefit from a redshirt season. We have a receiver who redshirted a season ago. He wasn't ready a season ago, but he's now passed some guys that played a season ago. For him, the redshirt was great. It's all case-by-case. I don't know that you can put a blanket statement on that, Tom. I really don't. Good, it's warm in here. One more.
Can you give us some highlights or what to expect from the Win Jewel?
Yeah, what to expect is, we put up the graphic the other day, it's always been a bit of a shootout when we've played William Jewell. They've been high-scoring games. Their quarterback is dangerous. He's a very good athlete. You're going to see him on a lot of what you call broken plays, and he's good at those. We have to find a way to contain him. We can't let them run the football. If we do, we could be in for a long night. They are not a big defense, but they're a fast defense, they're a quick defense, and they're going to try to create a bunch of disruptive plays. So they're going to try to create big plays with what they do defensively and try to break our rhythm a little bit. We're going to need to stay the course. I anticipate the game really truly getting into the fourth quarter, and then we need to be able to finish, and that's what we're planning on doing. Okay? All right, guys, rock on.
Just a quick wrap up here. Again, thank you everybody for being here. We appreciate it. We appreciate Lynn's Brothers Pizza once again for being our sponsor, providing our food. Next week, the luncheon will once again be here in this room. It will be catered by Pancheros, and we'll give you some good updates next week. So everybody, thank you for being here. We appreciate it.